Today we're taking a look at a 1979 Honda CB200 and its cable operated disc brake. This is on the front wheel and there's the caliper itself. So let's take a look at the insides of it. So here we have the caliper body and the cover plate. This is off a stripped motorbike that I've been taking apart to hopefully salvage some parts. I spent the last day cleaning this up. It was actually full of cack and all rusted, etc. But we'll see what we can get out of it. The thing to note on the cover plate is there's this spring at the bottom, and that needs to be in good condition. Once you open up the caliper body, you'll then get this, which is known as the operating arm. This is the bit that actually makes the brake pads, and the brake pads sit in here with one plate on this side and the other pad, one pad on this side and the other pad in here, and the disc sits in between there. The operating arm sits inside the body like that, and when you pull the brake lever, the cable that goes in through this hole here and attaches in here operates this arm and rotates it. This operating arm sits within a thrust plate. This is the thrust plate. Metal disc, has one lug on the outside and then has these three notches. The outside notch sits within this little recess here in the actual body, and that prevents this plate from rotating like that, and then this sits on like so that when you pull the brake lever and this cable then pulls this. Through the centre of here is this screw with a split end to it, and this is known as the adjustment arm, or adjustment screw rather. So we screw that all the way in. And then on the outside, so when you open up the caliper, you'll see this plastic disc. This lug sits inside the split at the end of the screw, like so. And this whole part then sits in like that. Now what's actually happening when you activate the screw, when you activate the lever, is that these lugs here are kept fixed inside the caliper and this arm rotates. This rotation causes this unit to move forwards in that direction, pushing this screw against the brake pad inside this housing. Here's the brake pad I removed from it today. That sits in there with this locating pin sat inside there. So as you pull this, it makes this screw come out. The spring inside there puts pressure on this plastic disc, forcing it against these little springs just in here, which only allow this unit to go in one direction, won't go backwards. And as you can see, it rotates the screw so it comes further and further out. The idea being is that as the pad hits the disc and starts wearing away, it keeps the disc at the right distance from the pad, and therefore when you actually activate the brake, it then pushes this pin against the pad. Other things to note inside this adjustment arm unit are the ball bearings just in here, and the idea being is as this is actuated, these ball bearings rotate and put some pressure. Now in this particular one that I've tried to salvage, unfortunately it is a complete waste of time. There's a thrust bearing here, 2 washers, and then the bearing race. Unfortunately all the rollers that would sit inside these grooves in here have all corroded and are heavily rusted, so they're not really suitable for going back in. But more significantly, and I don't know whether the camera will pick this out, this actual plate where the wheel bearing here, where the ball bearing hits, it holds onto this plate, is actually starting to crack just there. It's also cracked just here, and again where this ball bearing hits here as well. So in fact this whole plate is beginning to fail. The ball's already also very rusty and corroded, so actually this operating arm is no good. It shouldn't probably be used at all. I'm going to see if I can carry on stripping it down any more, see if I can maybe manufacture a new one of these, because getting hold of these is becoming very difficult. But in essence, assembling the unit, the opposing brake pad goes in this side, and the trick is that lug first, put it in and rotate it round, and that lug lines up with a hole in the back, and there is a rubber grommet that sits in there that sorts of seals it. The brake pad goes in, then the thrust plate. Now again in this one, which I was hoping to salvage parts from, this pin here has actually already broken, and the previous owners have ground it away trying to make a nice right angle, the idea being that it won't dig into the aluminium body when it rotates. Unfortunately that now means there's now excessive play in this unit in here, so actually this thrust plate is a bin job as well. But let's just reassemble the whole thing. If you've got a serviceable one that you're cleaning up, the idea after you've cleaned it all up, grease it all up, insert this screw all the way, and then just back a couple of turns just so it's free in its rotation. In this end then goes this unit here, and then that's what holds the end of the brake cable from the handlebars. That goes in like so. Plastic warranty bit on top, and then obviously the gasket, and then the outer housing. And as you can see with this, it's still heavily corroded and still needs a bit of work to it to make it all fit. So that's basically the insides of the Honda CB200 cable operated caliper. Love it or hate it, that's what you've got to deal with. These parts are incredibly hard to get hold of these days, and if you do find them, I would lap them up as fast as you possibly can, because once this goes in your bike, your brakes no good. You can't replace it, can't fix it, can't restore it. Yeah, it's dead. So yeah, so that's a quick look at the inside of the CB200 cable operated front brake. I hope this has been a useful sort of what's inside guide. The next video I'm going to try and do is on assembling a fully working one of these. I'm stripping the one off my bike, servicing that one, and going to be fitting that back into there. I'm trying to get a new one of these because my one on my bike, this is also chipped, and so there's a little bit of play in it. It's also actually done a bit of damage to the aluminium housing here, which I'm trying to work out what on earth I'm going to do with that, because I found a replacement one of these, but it's about 180-190 euros, and I haven't got that kind of money. So yeah, so I hope this has been useful, and see you next time.